before I was a police officer, I was a young black man on the south side of Chicago who was racially profiled, but who was also beat up by the police. And it was only because community members put their arms around me and said, turn your hate, turn your frustration into something positive, that led me to the military, but then brought me back to that same neighborhood as a Chicago police officer as I was profiled. But then, as a law enforcement officer, I had to do some profiling to protect the citizens that I swore that I would do.
Did you profile black men?
I profiled all people. And here's why. Because it's an effective policing tool.
Wow, what an amazing perspective there. That was a clip from CNN's town hall, Black, White, and Blue. The officer said he's been on the negative side of profiling too, so he can see both sides. I'm Mike Slater here, back with Annalise, Tiffany, Randy, and Eric, and I want to talk about that perspective, getting both sides. Joining us, Reverend Jarrett Maupin, a progressive Baptist preacher and activist who has organized civil rights marches in Phoenix. Reverend, I'm glad you're here, sir. Why did you spend an afternoon about a year ago at police training? Why did you do that, and what did you learn there?
Well, the purpose of the training was to give us some perspective about what law enforcement deals with when they're in tough and violent situations. And what I came away with was a deeper appreciation for the importance of compliance, not a complete new perspective about police and engaging the community, but certainly a deeper appreciation for the life-saving power that's in compliance.
I think this is so important for everyone watching now who has not gone through this training, which is most everyone, who don't realize how quickly things happen for these police officers. And I remember watching some footage of you going through that with a guy in the training who was casing vehicles. And you're like, sir, step away from the car. Show me your hands. Within 1.2 seconds, he killed you with his gun. Right? It happens that fast. Is that what you picked up?
Absolutely. I picked that up. Now, I know there are different options that officers have, backup, different scenarios. It just gave me a general sense of what it was like to be under that kind of pressure. So, you know, for my fellow African-American men and women who are watching, compliance is key. Compliance does not mean surrender. It does not mean acquiescing to racism or racial profiling. It means surviving in the moment. If you're dealing with a cop who is a brutalizer or an excessive force user, I think it increases your odds of surviving the encounter, so you can sue the hell out of them afterwards.
Eric, is that racist of the Reverend to say something like that? Because I know if white people say that, then it's critical, right? Why do we have to comply? Black people, what do you say to that?
It's not racist to say comply. That's something that when I talk to young people and adults all over the country, that's what I tell them to do. You will not win a fight on the side of the road because the police officer has the gun, they have the baton. That is not the proper place to win a fight. What you are to do, comply, try to record the event, similar to the lady who recorded an event in the recent shooting of Philando Castile. Record the events and fight it in the courtroom. Because some of these officers, they are strong. Some of them have weak personalities and trigger happy. So you have to make sure that you don't know what kind of personality you're dealing with. Be very careful, comply, and fight it later.
Yeah. Would you be willing to go through that training, get that perspective?
Oh, I would.
Yeah.
That would be very interesting. I've been through some law enforcement training with BPD. They've taught me some things, but I'm willing to look at that as well.
Everyone needs to see that. Everyone needs to know how quickly things move, and I think we'll have a little more empathy for what the police officers are going through. Now, Reverend, you're not completely on the, I don't want to say on the police's side, but you're still doing some activism. I heard that you're planning on shutting down some traffic this weekend. What's up with that?
Absolutely.
Why? Why? What do you mean? Why are you doing that?
Because we're dealing with systemic racism.
What is shutting down traffic? Listen, no, this is a pet peeve of mine. I apologize, sir. We can have a conversation about systemic racism and all the rest, but why are you shutting down traffic?
We're shutting down traffic for the same reason that Dr. King and other civil rights leaders did, to draw attention nonviolently through means of civil disobedience to grave injustice that people of color are facing, particularly with so-called 21st century policing.
Annalise, what do you make of shutting down traffic? I think we can all agree on the cause, but unjust means for an unjust ends doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
Well, Mike, I mean, I'm maybe you've been susceptible to this. We've had traffic shut down a couple times in San Diego, and I've been caught behind it, and it's frustrating. But I understand where they're coming from, and I understand the idea of the civil disobedience. They are breaking the law. So there's a risk to it. There's a risk that you get arrested. There's a risk that you have a criminal record. I think that you have to go into this understanding this isn't just a going to a demonstration, a nonviolent demonstration. This is more. It's a criminal activity when you stop the traffic and you're impeding traffic. And I wonder if everyone knows that, because there comes a point, I think we've been seeing less of these demonstrations, and I wonder if the reason we're seeing less is because people are starting to get charged.
Well, and they're wildly unproductive to your cause, Reverend. So again, I'm a conservative. You want to win me over and people like me. If I'm driving to work or I'm driving home to be with my family and you block traffic, there's not a single person in the history of the universe who you are endearing to your cause by blocking me and preventing me from going home, right?
Well, the people that are blocked are likely not allies in the cause. I've never
don't you want to make
participate
allies? Don't you want to make allies? Don't you want to make? Yeah, so that's not helping. So what do you do?
Of course we do. Of course we do. But our country has ignored race and racism in policing for a long time. So our march in Phoenix on 24th Street and Camelback Road, I call that the intersection of affluence and apathy. It will force people to deal with a situation that they have the luxury, or dare I say the white privilege, of ignoring. That Black Lives Matter, and we demand our civil rights be affirmed.
I suggest there's more creative ways to do that. When Martin Luther King Jr. engaged in civil disobedience, he was breaking a specific unjust law, right? Like Rosa Parks sitting in the front of the bus, right? Or she wasn't allowed to sit in the front of the bus. So she broke that unjust law by sitting in front of the bus. She didn't just break other laws or random laws to bring awareness. She broke a specific law, Eric.
No, Martin Luther King he blocked traffic. That got people's attention. So please stop saying that, because that's simply not true. He blocked traffic to get attention.
He broke unjust.
No, he didn't.
Marches in the streets of our cities for as long as we've had a civil rights campaign.
Not necessarily for the specific purpose that you guys are doing. You guys are just doing it to cause trouble. And listen, I'm trying to help you here. I got to go here. I'm trying to help you. You're not endearing yourself to anyone when you do that. So I'm suggesting you think of something more creative.
We're making them uncomfortable.
It sound very similar to
I don't know what good that does. Randy, we got to go to you real quick. Randy, you're a police officer. This puts people in harm's way, doesn't it, sir?
If you make people uncomfortable, then they'll pay attention.
Randy, go to Randy here.
You know, but here's what's happening. This is they want to have trouble. That's the whole problem here. By particularly going into the streets, knowing that it's going to lead to arrest situations, then all it does is it creates more violence and more of this madness that's going on.
It's law. I feel like it's increasing lawlessness.
The madness is police brutality.
Sure, and that's true. And if you can think of a great way to prove, guys, we got to run here. If you can think of a way to do that without hurting your cause, we got to take a break. Without hurting your cause, I think it would serve you guys a lot better. Lawlessness is the perception. Why do more lawlessness? We got to go, guys. Appreciate you. White police officers kill an unarmed white man just the other day. Where's the news coverage? Where's the outrage there? Where's the blocking traffic there? And later, Megyn Kelly, D.L. Hughley have an epic disagreement about race on live TV. We'll play that for you. Back after this.